Good evening. Welcome, everyone, to the Mental Health Hour. Back again on this lovely Wednesday, as always. It's good to see everybody trickling in. Michael Joseph Murray, Mr. Med, Naomi underscore Hattie. Good to see y'all. And we'll say hello to others as they filter in. Gemma, how are you?
Alive.
Alive.
Yeah.
Always the great introduction.
Yeah. That's all you're gonna
Uh,
get today. It's been one of those weeks. I'm having my bathroom ripped out. I'm slowly losing the will to live. Um, it's apparently going to take 3 weeks, and I'm on day 3.
Well, this is a
I,
mental health broadcast, so you're in the right place. As,
yeah.
as we open the show with my co-host saying she's losing the will to live. Um, thank you, Med. Appreciate it. Uh, very nice. Um, thank you also to Hattie and um, Eric, will be probably joining us shortly for the birthday wishes, and Gemma for the text. It
Yeah.
was I usually try and fly that under the radar, um, but somehow Facebook or whatever let me out of the bag.
Yeah, gotta love social media for writing you out and finding all your connections and sticking them all together and getting it
Another,
so that you add family members and yeah.
yes. There's Eric. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. It was my birthday a few days ago, and I just found out that a good friend of mine had his baby twins born on my birthday. So that was pretty neat.
Oh, very good.
Um, so they can take all the credit for that day now, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. But another year older, another year on the sober trail.
Yeah.
A ray of sunshine. Thank you very much. Good to see you, Ray. Um, Missed you last night, um, but it's not like we don't miss a week or two here or there on the good old mental health hour due
Yeah, speaking
to
of which,
children, schedules, work for me. Uh,
mm,
Gemma and I did an episode. It was actually with Jim in Chicagoland. Uh, I think that was episode 11. So
was stressful that
70
one.
episodes ago, where I had gotten called into work, and uh, we did that episode from. I did it from the fire station. Luckily, I was at a slower house that day, but we were on edge the entire time because if I got a call, I was gonna have to leave, and Gemma was gonna have to run things.
But the thing is, if you'd have left and the computer had gone into standby or something, it would have kicked us off.
Yes, that was back in the Haps days where
It was.
it that could happen. Yeah, like if I was the main broadcaster, it would. I could leave it running, but if my computer uh, decided to sleep or whatever, it would
Mhm.
time out the broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the broadcasts, I got the one you sent. I'm going to upload it to YouTube
Um, let's see
after
what
I
we got.
significantly edit it to take out the name of the place in which it was originally streamed.
Ah, that's all good. That's a fond remembrance of our
Yeah,
formidable
that's
years
before it
on
went um, tits up, shall we say.
It's Up.
That's putting it very mildly.
And Eric, thank you for the 10 months. That is much appreciated.
Mm.
Um, it's good to see everybody tonight. We are running on fumes, the two of us. Gemma was just touching on everything that she has going on with home renovations and whatnot, and we'll get into next week in a little bit. But for those of you that were here last week or listened to the replay, um, Penelope wasn't feeling too well, so we her cough was worsening after last week's show, so we decided to take her to the doctor just to be on the safer side with RSV and all that. I just wanted to. It wasn't resolving itself. I'm not one to rush off to the doctor for little things. I mean, I take people to the hospital for stubbed toes, and it's just what the hell. But I kind of made the call to just go get it looked at and see what's going on. It turns out she has an ear infection, so she hasn't been feeling too hot, but she's been doing well. For those wondering, um, she's in there right now watching her movie, trying to take a little nap. But naps have been very few and far between, and even the sleep. She sleeps through the night, but we're getting disrupted sleep. She's waking up crying, and understandably so. But anywho, she's on amoxicillin, so we did find out that she's not allergic to penicillin.
Oh,
So
it's a good thing.
there's good that comes out of it, uh, and we're just waiting for that to take take form or do what it's got to do and get that yuck out of her. But
Uh-huh.
um, so sleep has been at a premium here for the wife and I. Um, Hopefully tonight will be a good night as
Mm.
the amoxicillin works its magic. And how about yourself, Gemma? Other than the house renovations?
I'm got like the sleep. It's gonna get to the stage where I have to give up and pass out because I haven't slept for possibly 3 nights now, consecutive.
Mm.
So hence the heavy filtering. I'm just trying to work out that there's no slugs over my eyes.
Hello, Tracy. Good to see you. Um, yeah, so that's a great segue to remind everybody, if you're not already, give us a follow on all our socials. And the bio link, I just had it up, but there we go. Bio links there in the chat. And our website is there, tmhhonline.com. Give us a follow, give us a share, like the content, subscribe, whatever you would like to do. Um, but most importantly, if we could ask one favor, is just share it out. Share this out with everybody. Help us grow. Um, we're growing at a pretty decent rate, I'd say, from week to week. Of course, we have our core group of followers that are always here. And I know we have some definite lurkers, which lurkers are more than welcome. Um, if you feel like you want to participate in the chat, if you're here for the live uh, broadcast of the episode, then please feel free to type in the chat if you're up for it. If not, just want to take in some fun information, some good vibes, good stories, then that's all right with us as well. But share us out if you like the content, and all of our replays are available on YouTube, which is on that bio link. Should be right up towards the top. Try to make that easy. And then there's all kinds of great content, mental health related. One thing being sleep debt and sleep, the importance of sleep. That uh, usually is a pretty good episode. We've done two, I think, on sleep, and they've both gone off very well because that's something everybody can relate to. You know, not I've said it before. Not everything we talk about on this show is something that everyone can relate to, but certain topics that we hit on just affect everyone. And tonight may be the case. We're getting into some bullying and violence in schools
Mm.
tonight on the 81st edition of the Mental Health Hour. Closing in on that number 100. We're going to have to plan something for the 100th episode, I guess.
Oh yeah, I think
I
so.
haven't even given it any thought. Have you?
Had a couple of ideas, but I've been working on a particular intro for it to thank some of the people that have been particularly loyal to the show, just as a thanks. So when we get there, I mean, I've started now, so I'm not pushing it.
Right. Yeah.
Like, but I just thought for all those people that are here week in, week out, and then Naomi and Ray that are always here helping as well and posting for us and stuff. It was just a little something to say thanks that I'm working on.
Excellent. Excellent.
Just to add to what you said about reaching out in the chat as well. If anybody's watching on a replay or in the podcast and you want to reach out, you can do so in the bio link, bio.link/TMHH, and you'll find ways to contact us there.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Med, for the 4 bits. Appreciate that. Um, let us get kind of started. We've done a bit of a longer intro, but I like the intros, especially when we get some conversation going. But jumping into tonight, um, bullying in schools, bullying and violence in schools. Obviously, something that's been going on for a long time. Um, Bullying is around pretty much everywhere, no matter where you. It doesn't have to just be school. There's bullying in the workplace. There's bullying, between friends, social groups, um, everywhere. It's not to say that it's um, targeted for schools. However, the violence in schools is more of a concern here in the United States, especially
Mm-hmm.
with gun violence, knife violence, not just your typical fist fights. We've gone through a rash of mass shootings in schools, and you know, this isn't a political show by any stretch, so we're not going to really get into gun control and all of that. That's not the point of tonight's episode.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight, we're looking more at what causes bullying, trying to understand it a little bit, if we can, and I've got one slide on how to hopefully try and prevent some bullying. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so we'll get into all of that. Um, but as I said, uh, and I've never had a problem with this chat uh, for any of our episodes. Um, but we'll just keep our political views to ourselves, and our views on, um, you know, things like gun control and what have you. There is something to be said. I've talked about it before, uh, about it, but that's for another time and place. And certainly, if you wanted to, you can reach out and discuss further with Gemma or I about whatever's on your mind. Um, but for now, we'll just try and keep on track with what's going on. That's kind of what we do here. That's what we look at. We look at what's the deal with it, what's going on with it, can we learn anything about it, and is there any way to help the situation. Um, so we'll just do a rough kind of overview, and we'll look for too much love here, says Fat Guy Out West. Hello, Steve. That's Steve Blaine's brother. Um, Good to see you here. Hattie says, whoops. Hattie says, students are even attacking teachers and bus drivers. That's true. 100% true. The violence is stretching not just from, uh, you know, targeted. When I was growing up in school, bullying seemed very targeted. Um, somebody didn't like somebody, that they were going to let them know about it, and they were going to harass them and what have you. That was the standard schoolyard bullying. Um, but yeah, now we're adding violence. And when I was going through school, violence in the school place was um, a playground fist fight or something, or a lunchroom brawl. That was it. We didn't. I guess we were lucky. Um, there was always the threat of gun violence, and we knew we had protocols and drills on what to do if something were to unravel. But that, I mean, that was the nuts and bolts when I was growing up. Now it's a whole new ball game. They had not too long ago. I had just slipped my head what state it was, but the 6-year-old that might have been Virginia, the 6-year-old that brought a gun to school and shot his
Oh
teacher.
my God.
Yeah, 6 years
6.
old. 6. Um, so there's been, an upward trend in mass shootings. You know, it's not, what I'm trying to say is it's not just targeted anymore. There's people that just go in and start firing away, and this is where the violence in schools comes into play. It's not so much bullying at this point; it's just violence for the sake of nothing. Violence has become gamified from my point of view. I actually kind of agree with that. It's it's become a game to see who can um, one up the next person, or uh, come up with something new and more grotesque. I just don't understand the logic behind it, but it's not for. I'm trying to think how it it's hard to understand what goes through everybody's mind, and that's why we're not. We say all the time here, we're not trained psychiatrists, we're not trained doctors. We don't know. We can't get into people's minds. We can listen. We can learn. We can um, point in the direction of proper health care or mental health care, as we've both been through a lot and dealt with many therapists, counselors, and for myself, more intensive rehab environment. Um, so Hattie says our county sheriff did a presentation where bus drivers have bruises on their neck from being choked. Teachers are so afraid they ask the sheriff can get defense classes.
Oh my God.
Um,
That's another word for the list as well. Just saying.
what's that?
Presentation.
Mm.
But that's sad. That, yeah. I
And
mean,
yeah, and Hattie brings up a point that we'll get into actually tonight. The social media trend has certainly affected this in a negative way. Um, it, it it challenges. Hattie says social media sites like TikTok don't help with kids create crazy challenges that involve others. Yeah,
oh
it
yeah.
becomes a game at that point, right, Gemma?
Oh yeah. They think like that blackout challenge that cost the lives of quite a few children,
Mm-hmm.
where they had to choke themselves till they passed out, like
Mm-hmm.
completely blocked their airways, and there was a number of children that were in severe comas, stem cell dead, and I know there was one over here that was fighting to keep the life support on, but they said that they were brainstem dead and turned it off. It went through the court and everything. It was horrific. But as was mentioned earlier about how when there's fights and things and it's put like now they just film it, everybody's there filming it. And I've seen a number of physical fights posted to such as TikTok and other social media platforms, and it's horrendous.
It is. Um, and it is all about the likes, the follows, and
Well,
going viral. Um,
it's made to
it's
look like glamorous and like you don't actually have to have an education anymore and you can make money quick just by going viral. And all this with there's like a large group of TikTok um like creators, not going to name any names, that have been in a lot of trouble and things for various different things, from online grooming, drugs, you name it. And
mhm.
the chances are they didn't do very much in school because they thought they didn't have to, because when they go viral, money just rolls in and they don't think about the future, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, when you go viral and you're in the public eye, it can all be taken away within the blink of an eye.
Yes. And Michael Joseph Murray adds that most mass shooters, there's mental health issues. Absolutely. Um,
Mm.
that's 100% the case, and that therein lies the problem. How are we supposed to address the underlying issues of the folks that go in and do things like this when there's um not, I don't want to get back into like stigma and all that, but like without having a good place to feel free to open up and talk about things, and not this show is great, but I'm talking more broad spectrum, like uh, uh, benefits and what the hell am I trying to say here? Insurance, not paying for certain mental health
Oh, yeah.
related things. I mean, I've talked about it before. Like it is trending upwards. It is becoming more of a buzzword. It is becoming more accepted. It is becoming more well known with the insurance companies that this needs attention, and they are offering a lot more than they used to, for mental health related health care, because like any doctor's visit or hospital stay, uh, going to a psychologist once a week is not exactly cheap either. Um, so if it can be more free, not free, if it could be more at our reach, within our reach, and within our means to for the blue collar folks, for everybody, never mind class or
Mm.
society, for everyone to be able to get some kind of counseling or help, whatever they may need.
Yeah, I agree.
That this is what would hopefully help, uh, not put an end to. Uh, that's a broad statement, but hopefully help mitigate some of the issues, and maybe save some lives in the process. Um,
I
Jenny,
think so. I think if they could give and offer treatment to those that need it, particularly when it's picked up earlier in schools, it might prevent some of the tragedies that happen before it gets out of hand.
mhm.
But I
Annie
mean,
says we get no insurance here. We're married. Uh, Arranged for me a long time ago. But he violent. I get insurance from his work. Um,
mm,
that's good that you get some insurance coverage. Uh, I'm guessing you're saying there's nothing for like mental health related things,
mm,
which I mean that is still the case for a lot of folks. Thank God my insurance was one of the earlier ones that kind of started jumping on that, and a lot of my aftercare and what has been covered, and my stay at the inpatient rehab facility was covered. So that was awesome. I'm pretty sure the rehab would have been covered one way or the other by insurance, because I believe that's been going on long enough. Rehab facilities in general, that they
Mm.
are covered by insurance. But I mean, the aftercare is the meat and potatoes. The rehab facility was the foundation. The aftercare is what keeps me sober. Um,
Yeah.
so the weapon of choice might cause the harm, but the root 99% of problems stems from mental health, and that is just a fact. Speaking of numbers and percentages, why don't we pop over to some slides and take a look? We have some numbers to kind of look at and maybe see if we can't get a grasp on, um, what's going on. Uncle Rick, I saw you pop in. Good to see you. Uh, Before we get started, just want to make sure. Yeah, we got Annie and Uncle Rick. Um, all right, let's go to slide number one. Gemma's going to run us through these, and we'll discuss.
Okay, so these are the most common types of bullying at schools, and of the percentages, 79% is verbal harassment, 50% social harassment, 29% physical bullying, and 25% cyberbullying. I'm actually surprised cyberbullying isn't higher.
So I think
Um,
it might be. Um, I'll have to check the year on this one. I try
yeah,
and get when I get the slides for the shows, I try and uh, skim past the ones that are um, like 2018, 2017, getting older. I mean, Christ,
yeah,
we're in 2023 now. So I try and go with the most recent statistics. This might be an older slide. I don't see anything listed on it,
mm,
on the
maybe.
outside, but
I
uh,
know, like when I went to school, there wasn't the cyberbullying because there wasn't really the internet, and that made things a lot easier in that sense. But then not in others. But yeah, I can't imagine. Like, it's definitely a worry for me because Thomas has got 2 years left till he goes to high school, and that is something that I'm already very concerned about with the bullying and cyberbullying and things like that. Even on games and things, it's rife with it.
so this I just found it. This slide is from March 31st, so almost a year ago, March 31st, 2022, almost a year ago. Um, so it is not that unrecent. Is that a word? Unrecent? It's not that old. Um,
Mm.
but I agree with chat here. I would have thought myself that cyberbullying would have been much higher on the list. As we were talking about with social media and whatnot, it is definitely increasing rapidly still.
I
But
mean,
you gotta also think about is social harassment, are they throwing that in there? Um,
yeah, it could be, I guess, like social media. But I
yeah,
think, I mean, that's just at school as well, which I would have thought
social
that
on
would have
the
been higher. But certainly cyberbullying in general, even as adults and things, that's
yeah. I
pretty
mean,
high.
looking at it on the
People
face of it, I would think that is social harassment would just be socializing a group of folks, but maybe they've lumped in social media to an extent, uh, as that is still socializing. Um, I feel like these numbers were the physical bullying was a lot higher when I was growing up than
Oh, yeah.
29%. Um, but verbal harassment, I mean, that's right where it should be, if not
Mhm.
higher. Everybody does it. Everybody gets it. Everybody takes it. Everybody receives it. Everybody takes it. Everybody takes it. Everybody gives it in one way or another. If you you might not mean to be hurtful, but we've all been hurtful to somebody. I think we can own up to that. We've all hurt another person or spoke behind their back or something like that. Um, and that's what some of my amendments came through for the 12 steps. If you remember last week's episode, we did the 12 steps. My step 9 was making amends, and certainly some things that I have said have caused me to go make some apologies and what have you in my own way, in my own right. Um, but that being said, this is just uh, a source from do something. The source for these numbers is do something. I can actually the website itself is a wonderful article, and I will put this on the Discord because it's 36 eye-opening bully statistics from March 31st of 2022, and it's a good read. I made it through number 6 before I had to stop and get the rest of the show ready, but it was uh, it was good, and I'll post that for you guys in the Discord. Moving along, here's some more numbers for you, Uncle Rick.
There we go. Okay, so these are the stated reasons for bullying. So 44% of students say it's because of how they look. So like physical appearance or any physical disabilities and things like that, I guess. 16% of students say it's because of their race or skin color. 14% of students say it's because other students thought that they were gay. 12% of students say it's because of how much money that their parents have. That was definitely something when I was at school. If you didn't have designer gear on, that you were deemed as poor. 9% of students say that it's because of their religion. 9% of students say that it's because of where their family's from. 8% of students say that it's because of their sex or gender. And 7% of students say that it's because of a disability that they have. Sad that so many of them are just picked. Well, no reason is good enough reason for bullying anyone.
And
all of
the
those
reason
individuals mainly.
the reason the numbers are so low, 7, 8, 9%, 12%, is because there's so many. So many reasons people bully or get bullied. Race, sexuality, how much money you have. I mean, some of it just it definitely comes down to. Well, we'll get into. It should be coming up on one of our slides upcoming, but jealousy is a huge factor, obviously, in why people bully. They're jealous of you, and if you're getting bullied, it's usually, or I shouldn't say it's usually, it's one of the big reasons is because somebody's jealous. And one thing I've always told like my stepkids and my coworkers that have come to me with issues in the workplace or what have you, I always say if you snuff out the flame, or you take oxygen away from the flame, it's going to snuff itself out. So if you're adding fuel to that fire and giving the bully what they want, which is a reaction, then they're going to keep on keeping on and get stronger and get meaner because they're getting what they so greatly desire from you, and that's a reaction. Moving along to the next.
Oh, they usually do it in front of an audience as well. That's a lot of it. They like to do it in front of an audience.
Yeah,
because of the gratification that they get for it. All right, let me just unlock my phone.
Here's something on cyberbullying.
Okay, so bullying and cyberbullying by the numbers. So 1 in 4 high school students has experienced in-person bullying or aggression. 37% of young people between the ages of 12 and 17 have been bullied online, which is, I guess, with the other one. 27% of students reported that someone has said or done something mean or cruel to them online. And 23% of students reported that they've said or done something mean or cruel to another person online. And that might be higher if, I guess not everybody's going to admit that or see that it is cruel or mean that they've said. So that might be higher still. But
Let me take a look if I can find this one in particular. I'd be curious to see the
year on it.
the year on this one as well, because this one was another slide that didn't have. And like I said, I usually don't put anything on that's not of a recent, at least within a year. I feel like we're not going to always get the most up to date. Yeah, I can't. I've got the website up, but I'm not seeing a date on this one. But anywho, that's neither here nor there. Um, as Hattie said, all the informative slides and videos from tonight's episode will be available in our Discord, and that is the link there. I wonder if there's a way, Gemma, if we can. I'm not as good with Discord as you are. That's why you're the head honcho on there. Can we make that Discord? I noticed some people's Discord links have like discord.gg/ and then like their name. Can we do like /TMHH, or is that not a thing?
You have to pay for that, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But I have actually made
it. Things.
There is actually a short link that I made it into. I'll have to. It's tinyurl /TMHHD. I think. I'll check. But I think it's a paid feature. Is that one?
Nail Driver, it is good to see you. Hey guys, I have a new friend that quit his job because he couldn't get corporate attention for racist managers' practices. I worked, they laid off the managers. Exactly what they should have done. Racist practices have no place anywhere. Obviously, we are not.
No.
Where was that number earlier at the race? Let me get this.
It was on here. The previous one that we've just come off, I just used Google Lens and it said it was 2021. It located a source that said it was taken from 2021.
Okay, thank you. 16% of students in schools. Now this, I like that we're getting broad spectrum. I like that. But these slides were from like a school perspective, school age. But thank you for that comment as well. And it is something to look at. Racist practices have no place anywhere, especially in the workplace. But you shouldn't even say especially. It just should be an overall zero tolerance policy everywhere. Unfortunately, that's not the case. There are still people that believe in racist practices and what have you.
Oh, yeah, very much.
And just like there's still people that will always, I guess, all of these reasons for bullying that are on the screen right now, I don't think will ever fully go away. And that's just the shame of it. Tony D, good to see you, pal. Good to see you. I guess you're probably doing your podcast right now. And then Nail Driver says this was a large retailer that the name is not important. Yeah, the name, we don't need the names. But thank you for sharing that. We're going to move on to some more causes of bullying. Maybe we can understand, what's going on.
All right. So here we go. So I'm going to work clockwise. So what are the causes of bullying? So feeling powerless in their own lives, someone else is bullying them, jealousy or frustration, like Tim mentioned earlier, a lack of understanding or empathy, looking for attention, mimicking behaviors of family, bullying behaviors get rewarded. I have actually known that happen in families where they praised, because I used to work in a school, and there was a particular pupil that it was pointless telling their parents anything, because they would seemingly praise this behavior and condone this behavior, especially when it was racially motivated, it would seem, which was disgusting. And then an inability to regulate emotions, which again, that would stem down to having some sort of therapy and counselling to help them regulate their emotions. And if it's done earlier on, hopefully it would be able to prevent them turning into bullying as a way of, I guess, releasing frustration or something.
Right. And yeah, as Gemma was touching on there, bullying behavior gets the rewards sometimes. And it one thing to look at, and we should probably do an episode on, is the learned behavior, mimicking behaviors of family. Can you touch on jealousy a little bit more, or someone else bullying them, while I go check on her real quick?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I was at school and was bullied quite badly. A lot of the things were touched upon in the other slides: disability, my surname gave an assumed religion, and then like I didn't have the branded clothing and things. But I think sometimes I've noticed in particular, having worked in schools, students who are deemed bright and intelligent tend to get bullied quite a lot, because the others tend to think that they might be teacher's pet, or they are just jealous that they're doing better. Usually there's bullying where they will get the student or students to do their work for them. I've known that happen. That can be a cause of bullying and things like that, because they can't or won't do their work themselves, and they bully the other student or students into doing that. Someone else bullying them, definitely, if they are being bullied, somebody who they portray as weaker than them, it gives them, I guess, a sense of power over somebody else and a sense of control over something that they can't control that's happening to them. And most of the time when someone is doing the bullying, they like to do it in front of an audience. They like to do it for the praise and for the hype that it gets them, and I guess the status that they can earn within the school of them being deemed as hard, or don't mess with them, or they'll do this, they'll do that. And nowadays, with mobile phones being so, like, most kids have got them, a lot of it's videoed and put on social media, and then it can get worse and it can turn to cyberbullying and things like that. It can just constantly stem out of control. But yeah, like I've known even kids that get bullied and treated badly at home to then go and reenact that at the school again with someone that they deem weaker than themselves, or to have some sort of flaw that they think is a flaw, be it a disability, be it religion or anything. It can be anything that they deem. And the thing is, if they see that their parents are doing it, like, for example, being racist or being discriminative to disability, if they see that their parents and their family members are doing it and they think that it's acceptable to do that, then they're going to be brought up to do the same thing, thinking it's acceptable.
Yeah.
And which is why I think as parents, we need to make sure that we are not instilling that behavior into them, and that if it happens, we stamp it out pretty quick, because it's just never going to come to an end. And there's only so much that schools can do with that. Having worked in a school myself, and for just under a year a secondary school, you will just get, "You're not my mum, you can't tell me what to do," usually
Yeah.
followed by a lot of bad language, and they just
And there's a lot
can't
of
do
that
anything.
going on nowadays.
Yeah, you just literally can't do anything. So I've been on both sides as a parent, as because Thomas, even at primary school, was getting bullied when he had the cancer and the port, at 5 and 6 year old. So it starts very, very early on. And then I've been and seen it from the side of a teacher, and I've been on the receiving end of it. That was very, very bad at school myself, because I had a very physical, very visible physical disability with my legs. You could see I was also very, very underweight and didn't have the designer clothes. So I was the obvious, I guess, candidate for that to happen. And it gives them a sense of power and control over somebody else, where they might not feel that they have that elsewhere. And again, it's always been done in
Yeah.
an audience generally. You get that bully on their own, like I once did, and they're not as cocky as they are in front of their
Oh yeah,
audience.
certainly. You get somebody with a little bit more or not anger, alpha male
Mm.
persona, and even the biggest bully can back down. Uh,
Oh gosh, yeah.
it's all a matter of chest pounding at some stages of it, um,
Yeah.
and that's I don't know if is that on there. Looking for attention, I guess could be it. The chest
Hmm.
pounding, um,
And getting rewarded by status in school, like, I guess,
feeling
by
powerless in their own lives. Uh,
being bigged up and things, yeah.
just one of the classic examples is, and I'm sure everybody has somebody in their workplace uh, that you could almost tell by the way they act now, they must have been bullied nonstop as children
Hmm.
because they've now tested their way up the chain or worked the corporate ladder, climbed the ladder to the top, and now are just bullying all the people underneath of them, all of their people they supervise or what have you.
Mm.
It's a classic behavior that we went over in one of my classes. It's an unfortunate thing, but now their powerlessness from childhood has stemmed into their workplace environment. Um,
Oh yeah.
and so, I mean, there's all kinds of factors. These are just a few, um, but a lot of times it's attention seeking behavior or
Hmm.
it's learned behavior from at home life, uh,
Hmm.
which a lot of things like racism and stuff fall into as well. Racism is not something that you're born with. It is
No.
you are that is a learned behavior. Um, It's not a genetic thing, you know. There's no
There was
racist
a
gene.
there was a video. I'll see if I can find it and post it in the Discord. And they were asking children in schools from very young, and even before school, right up until like high school and then adults, about um, like their friends and things like that. And they were asking them about what's the same, what's different about them. And the younger children, especially, would only pick up on things like that's a boy, that's a girl, they like football, I don't like football, things like that, rather
Hmm.
than mentioning physical attributes like skin color, race, religion, disability. They didn't mention that at all. And it wasn't until they got older and that had likely been instilled in them by somebody at maybe home. And that just went to show it was some study that they'd done that shows that you're not born with this, it's implanted into you,
Uh-huh.
likely from a young age. And I think the youngest recorded child in that experiment that they was doing that said something racist about one of the other children, I think they were 9 or 10, something like that. So
Yep.
it's sad. It was
100%
sad.
learned.
Yeah.
Um, okay. We'll round out the evening tonight with the final slide. This is just a prevention slide. Something, what can we
Hmm.
do to try and stop?
Yeah. So ways to prevent bullying. So help kids to understand bullying. So talk about what bullying is and how to stand up to bullying instead of being a bystander and like watching it, filming it as we discussed, posting it to social media. Keep the lines of communication open. So check in with your kids often. Make sure that they have a safe space to talk about their concerns, where they know they will be heard. Not always going to be you as a parent, but they need to know that there is somebody if they can't speak to you as the parent, which sometimes they don't like to. I know I didn't, but as long as you make sure that there is somewhere that they know that they can go, then that helps. Encourage kids to do what they love. So hobbies, sports, and special activities can help boost kids' confidence and self-esteem. It can help kids learn how to make friends and protect them from bullying behavior. Again, this was better before we had many devices and things, the internet, because kids, certainly when I was younger, would go out and play and do things, do activities, whereas now the younger generation are all screens all the time. And COVID certainly didn't help that because everything became on screens. So
Yeah.
the kids that weren't necessarily on screens had to be on screens. And then model how to treat others. So as we say, it's a learned behavior. Treat others with kindness and respect. Teach your kids words and actions. So positive words, positive actions, not negative, negative, racist, derogatory terms. That isn't helpful. And then some resources that it mentions here: stopbullying.gov, do.in.gov. There's loads of different ones. I'll post them in the Discord. I found some earlier.
Yep.
Loads and loads of different ones, but you can literally just Google anti-bullying. Just
Yep.
make sure it's a reputable site. Usually .org or .gov are use the
And
recommended ones.
and see if you can find the equivalent for stopbullying.gov. I put that in the chat. That's the big one here. See if you can find the
I'll get it.
equivalent for that over in the UK. Um, but that's a small look at bullying and violence in schools tonight. We're coming towards the end of the broadcast, so we're gonna have to start wrapping it up. I have a Penelope to feed some dinner, um, and she's actually been really good. Um, Naomi says I have told my nephews and niece that I'm always available to talk to. I know talking to your parents can be awkward. I also said as long as it doesn't harm yourself or others, the talks are only between us. As adults, we can be a good example for young people to not, if not, if they are not your own. Yes, um, that's awesome, and I um, applaud that. I also put myself available for folks, um, especially as a sponsor. Thank you guys for joining in. We're gonna do a little community calendar before we get out of here. One thing I did want to mention, and I'll throw this up real quick, is tonight. Our good friend Jim in Chicagoland, as always, does his Catalyst broadcast, but tonight he has a very special episode planned on catastrophic illness and injury, the struggle and battle, and that will be, I'm sorry, not 11 tonight. It's at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Um, and his special guest is at Tala_no excuses. That's a Twitter handle. If you are seeing this live, you can give her a follow on Twitter. Um, and it sounds like it's going to be an excellent broadcast, and I hope to be able to tune in this evening for that. And I'll see some of you all there.
When's that
So
one?
that
Oh,
is
tonight.
that is tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. So 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 3
Am I
o'clock
right
for
to
you.
just quickly mention one? I haven't made anything to advertise it, but there's going to be
Sure.
a number of streamers on, I think, Sunday. If Med's here still, he'll be able to tell me. Wolf Puppy, for anybody that remembers Wolf Puppy, that was on Periscope and other streaming platforms. He's doing a dystonia awareness broadcasting train to raise awareness for dystonia and hopefully raise some money for dystonia. So there's going to be a few of us doing that, myself and Ned included. Not sure what time yet, but that is this Sunday, I believe. But I'll post in the Discord as well.
And don't forget, if you wouldn't mind, to give A Ray of Sunshine 21 a follow as well. He does an excellent broadcast every Tuesday called A Ray of Sunshine. We have to update this, or I have to update this command because it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I believe, but the new episodes are Tuesday nights. Ray's in the chat. Give him a click and a follow, and he can certainly answer any questions if you'd like to catch him live. It's a great show that he puts on for all of us in the Twitch community over here on talk shows and podcasts, whatever this channel is that we are a part of. And yeah, Tuesday nights at 8 there is Ray. So give him a click, give him a follow. And of course, Gemma is also doing her own broadcast as well. So please give her a follow. She's right next to me to that side. And her name has been in the chat as well. All right, guys, that should be it for tonight. Once again, don't forget tonight is Catalyst Night with Jim in Chicagoland. I hope to see everybody over there this evening, 10 p.m. Eastern, special start time. Catastrophic illness and injury. Right. Oh, Craig, that Craig bloke. There he is. Cheers, all. He's coming in just in time. All right, let's do. We haven't done a raid in a while, and I don't think that outro is working. So we'll do a little raid. Who to raid? Who to raid? Let's say. I don't really have anybody to raid. What's her? Sarah just went offline. Well, we'll give the nothing's popping up right now. We'll give the outro roll, unless anybody has anything else. Gemma, do you have anything finalized?
Message, if you see Jim before me, let him see if he wants to put, the intro that we roll at the start. I thought it might be good to help.
Yeah, we can.
Some of the others. So
Yeah, we can throw Ray and Jim in there.
If anybody wants to advertise in the intro that we roll before we go live, well, when we're live, but before we come on screen, just drop me a message.
Right on.
Happy to help our fellow streamers and community.
All right,
Doesn't
guys.
have to be stream.
We will catch you next week. No, I'm sorry. Next week we will not be live.
Yes, next week. I need to edit the calendar thing that I did, because I did it all and then posted it all and thought, hell,
Yeah.
I messed it up.
Gemma will be out of town, so we will be off next week, but we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Unless we decide to pop on sooner, and we will keep you apprised of that information over on the Discord. That's all we got. We'll see you guys soon.